Anybody else? Good? Good? Good. Ms. Dermott, is it coming? All right, we're all here. Good afternoon, everyone. Thanks for being here, and happy Halloween, although it's a pretty wet Halloween so far. Yesterday, we detailed for you what the NYPD is doing today and tonight to keep everyone safe and to ensure New York City has another great Halloween parade in the West Village, despite the rain. And today, we're going to do the same thing for you, too, as it relates to the 49th Annual New York City Marathon, which will be held on Sunday. First, you'll hear from Chief of Department Terry Monahan, and then Chief of Counterterrorism Jim Waters. When the marathon was first held in Central Park in 1970, believe it or not, there were only 127 runners and only 55 crossed the finish line. Now the New York City Marathon features more than 50,000 runners from 125 countries. So if I do my math right, it's gotten about 1,000 times bigger. We know from experience that more than 1 million spectators and about 10,000 volunteers will be lining the route, which touches parts of all 5 boroughs. I can tell you that despite the growth that we've seen over the last half-century, the men and women of the NYPD are more than prepared for it. Planning for large-scale events like this is what the NYPD does better than any other police department in the nation, and we certainly don't do it alone. There are law enforcement partners at the local, state, and federal levels, as well as the New York Roadrunners Club. We couldn't ask for a more receptive, safety-conscious group of professionals to work with. This year's marathon will be another hugely successful event, as it is every year. While there are no specific, credible threats to the marathons or to New York City, I want everyone to remember that public safety is a shared responsibility. If anyone sees or hears anything that doesn't look right or doesn't feel right, they should flag down a cop. There'll be thousands of them out there on Sunday, or call 911. It's not just that people should tell the police. I think people have an obligation to say something. Doing so gives us a chance to fully investigate whatever it is. It helps us do what we get paid to do, and that's to keep people safe. And anyone can call our toll-free counterterrorism hotline, too, which is 1-888-New York City Safe. To continue the public safety gains we've experienced here in New York City, we need the ongoing vigilance of every resident, worker, and visitor in this city. We need it not just tonight or Sunday, we need it every day. Before I hand it off to Chief Monahan, I'll say in closing that 2 years ago today, a terrorist drove a truck along the West Side Highway bike path, murdering 8 people and injuring 11 more, including 2 children. The NYPD and all of New York City will be out there tonight and on Sunday, and it'll be an atmosphere of community, peace, and fun. But in the aftermath of that attack, I guarantee that no one is complacent, and we saw the strength of our resolve later that evening with the very large crowds we saw that attended the Halloween parade. What we learned is that we were greatly saddened, we will never be deterred. That's what makes New York City so great. Everyone have a happy Halloween, and good luck to all the participants in Sunday's marathon. Chief Monahan.
Hi, good afternoon, everyone. New York City Marathon is one of the many major events we handle throughout this city every year. There will be thousands of cops working this Sunday. Most of them will be in uniform on highly visible posts, but as always, we'll have a team of officers who you won't see keeping people safe. We will have blocker cars will be at every intersection along the route. These cars, in addition to sand trucks, you will see from our partners at the sanitation department. All of the blocker cars will be ensuring vehicular traffic stays away from the marathon. Runners and spectators who are in the viewing stands can expect to be screened at the starting line, throughout Central Park, and at the finish line. This includes walk-through magnetometers and handheld wands. We want to thank our school safety agents who will be working at these checkpoints. We will have heavy weapon teams from our Emergency Service Unit, Critical Response Command, and Strategic Response Group posted along the race in every borough. And you will see canines from our Transit Bureau, Emergency Service Unit, and the Counterterrorism Bureau. These 4-legged members of the NYPD are highly trained in explosive detection. We will also have the full resources of the bomb squad on hand. These technicians will once again stand at the ready to mitigate any threat that may arise. And if you look up along the route, you'll see observation posts on buildings throughout. And our aviation helicopters, and also in the air, we will be having our drones, weather permitting. All of these assets gives us a bird's eye view of what's happening on the ground. And a word to the wise, if you own a personal drone, leave it at home on Sunday. We will be utilizing anti-drone technology. Our harbor unit will also be patrolling the waterways along the marathon, escorting ferries and scanning for any threats. The department will be putting out a comprehensive list of road closures later today. But some roadways will begin closing at midnight the night before the race, including the upper level of the Verrazano Bridge. And all the streets surrounding the route will be completely shut down to traffic before 8 a.m. across the city. So please plan accordingly. There will be millions of eyes and ears out there, and we need your help to ensure a safe, fun day for everyone. If you see something, hear something that's suspicious or just doesn't seem right, tell a cop. There's going to be thousands of them out there. Or you can call, as the commissioner said, 888-NYC-SAFE, or just dial 911. Thank you. Best of luck to all the runners out there. I'll see you at the start and at the finish line. Thank you.
All right, Jim Waters will give you talk about the counterterrorism overlay.
Good afternoon. As the Commissioner and Chief Monahan have already mentioned, the entire perimeter of the marathon will be secured. We'll be using over 100 sand trucks, over 500 blocker cars, and our concrete block will be deployed over almost 200 pieces of that. In addition, we're going to use technology. We'll have over 500 cameras throughout the entire route, both mobile and fixed, with our partners that have contributed to the Lower Manhattan Security Initiative, as well as cameras that are owned by us. Our Counterterrorism Officer Program, that's a program that we've talked about many times before over the last 7 or 8 years. Those are officers that are assigned to patrol precincts throughout the city that have been given additional, as well as transit and housing, that have been given additional training by the Counterterrorism Bureau. We'll be deploying over 300 of those officers that is highly trained also out there along the route. Our school safety agents will screen all 50,000 plus runners before they enter the fort. They will greet them, they will wish them well, and they will and good luck on the marathon, and they will give them that sense of security that they will be safe throughout the entire day. We'll have our Chem Bio, Rad, Nuke, and explosive teams out there doing detection. Plainclothes hostile surveillance officers will be deployed. We'll have our radiological detection boats in the water. Our bomb squad stands at the ready, as the chief said. Heavy weapons teams, our explosive detection canine, both the labs, which are the vaporwake, and the odor pursuit dogs, which are the German Shepherds and the Mals. In addition to that, we will be partnering with our federal partners in the FBI and the Department of Homeland Security in doing anti-drone detection, counter-drone detection, both throughout the entire, both at the start and the finish specifically, but throughout the entire length of the marathon. Thank you.
All right, any questions about the marathon? Juliet.
Expanding the perimeter of street closings throughout the neighborhoods?
Last year, we started doing using blocker vehicles on the intersections. So I think there's over 400 intersections.
But as far as, let's say, parallel streets that run as a parallel.
No, they'll still be open. Yep. Tony.
Regards to that question, are you going to be able, any cross-traffic at all on cross streets? Not all of them?
No.
There's no cross traffic. No cross traffic. Yeah, that's important to keep unauthorized vehicles off the route. Yep.
The recent read on ISIS, how does that change some of the counterterrorism?
Yeah. So I'll get my counterterrorism intel expert, John Miller.
Question was about the new leader of ISIS.
It was the recent raid on ISIS, and so the fallout from that, how does that change how you approach it?
So it doesn't change it. As of Monday of this week, we were up to 40 different propaganda pieces from ISIS into different chat rooms and message boards calling on attacks for various targets, featuring images of New York City. This is a high security event for us in the first place. We bring our A game, we bring our A team, so The developments for Abu Bakr al-Baghdadi will obviously affect ISIS in that they're going to have to readjust, but it's not going to affect us in that we were already at our highest levels.
Yep. There's no specific or credible threats against the parade, the marathon, or the city in general. Yep.
So on the counterterrorism, we're going to be monitoring social media, and then on the transportation part, what about subways and how New York will stay up to date on that if they're not going to be able to use the cars transportation?
Well, public transportation is going to be the best way to get around, and we have an active social media. We have all our precinct commanders, DCPI, all the chiefs have social media accounts, so we put information out. DOT will be putting information out. New York City road runners will be putting information out also. Yep.
If the president's still going to be in the city on Sunday, and if so,
John, you want to talk about that?
He'll be remaining overnight Saturday. He'll be leaving the city on Sunday. And we have obviously, through Chief Galati and the Secret Service, factored in which way is the marathon going, which way he's going, and it's all going to work.
Is he planning to attend the marathon in any way, shape, or form?
No.
Is this the first time you're using drones?
Yes. We have used counter-drone technology in the past. We tried to put our drone up last New Year's Eve in Times Square. If you were there, I think you know why we didn't. My shoes are still wet, and it's 10 months later. So, yeah. Any other questions about the marathon? Yep.
When it comes to the drones, to follow up on that, when you say you have anti-drone technology, what does that mean? You knock it out of the sky?
Yeah, I'm not going to go too deep into it, but there is counter-drone technology, and we work with our federal partners on that. That's important.
So does it follow the route, or how many do you have up there?
I'm not going to tell you that. It's a good question, though.
Great.
Yeah, yeah.
And I understand Chief Monahan is running the marathon?
Wait, you need to rephrase your question. He's running in the marathon. Go ahead, Terry.
Yes, I am running in the marathon. At the beginning of the race, I'm going to be with the Silver Shields Foundation. They have 5 runners, 1 representing the New York State Police, 1 representing Suffolk, 1 representing the fire, and 2 NYPD runners, all running for line-of-duty families. One of our NYPD runners is Lisa Tizzulo. If you know, 3 years ago, Paul Tizzulo, her husband, was killed in the line of duty. It's actually Monday is the 3rd anniversary of that. So she's running, and one of her things was she wanted to run with the thought of never alone, never forget. So a different runner is going to be running with her for every mile of the marathon. We'll be switching off. Since I decided to run the start with her on the Verrazano Bridge, I found out I got stuck having to do the first 3 miles because I got to get over the bridge. But again, it's a great day. Lisa's been training really hard for this, so we look forward to running with her. So I'll be with her at the beginning. I'll be waiting there for her at the end, probably limping a little bit, but I'll be there at the end for her when she gets there.
And just, Terry, keep in mind, I think they reopened the bridge to traffic around 1 or 2 o'clock in the afternoon. Any more questions about the marathon? Terry, you want to go into
8
that?
o'clock.
Yeah.
Again, some of the closures are going to start the night before. Obviously, on the Verrazano Bridge, upper level will be closed. By 8 a.m., all street closes in and around the marathon will be in effect. We will have something online later that'll tell you exactly what time each street will be closed.
Okay, any more questions about the marathon? If not, we can go to other topics. No other topics? Thank you very much. No, I'm sorry. Yeah, yeah,
Maybe Chief Shea could discuss the arrest last night.
yeah, okay. Dermot?
Yeah, I got to give some credit to Chief Billy Aubrey, Chief Joe Kenny, Chief Dave Barrere, really in short order, from this Monday's incident at the school where the 16-year-old girl was shot. Yesterday, throughout Queens, we effected 3 arrests in connection to some of the recent gang violence that we talked about yesterday. 2 individuals were apprehended after some surveillance at a location in Rockaway, Queens. Our violent felony squad under Kenny Lear, Chief Kenny Lear, made a separate apprehension of a 16-year-old. So altogether, we have a 16-year-old, a 16-year-old, and a 17-year-old that were taken into custody yesterday. We expect all three to be charged. It will be worked out whether they're going to criminal court or family court, but all three will be charged with the initial incident that happened Monday. That was a shots fired incident on a bus. About an hour after that was the incident at the school where additional shots fired occurred, and the 16-year-old girl was struck. One of the three will be, in addition to the shots on the bus, also charged with the shooting of the 16-year-old girl. This is very fluid at this point in time. We're not releasing names because we will see whether they will be treated as juveniles or adults. But this is in short order, working with Rodney Harrison's people on patrol. Again, Dave Barrera, Joe Kenny, I can't say enough for the plan that they put in place. We know exactly who we're after with this recent violence. We're going to continue, and we're asking the public, anyone with any information, to please call Crime Stoppers. Whether you're a witness, you saw the incident on the bus, you heard anything, no details are too small, and we'll continue to work the case.
Did they shooting on the bus or at the bus because they felt the person they were looking for or going?
As I said yesterday, probably most troubling in some of these incidents, and we're going back in time. Again, there's been a lot of arrests. When you look at the individuals we arrested yesterday, 3 individuals, 16, 16, and 17, all with multiple recent arrests for offenses, including robbery and gun possession, when you look at the totality. So some of them have been arrested 4 times just this year. When we look at what we've seen, we believe we know who they were shooting at on the bus. We believe we know who they were shooting at the school. There have been multiple incidents in this recent violence where they're shooting at individuals and hitting unintended targets, including the incident on the basketball court last Saturday. I think I said Friday, but it was actually Saturday.
The suspects on the bus or they shot at the bus?
On the bus and then off the bus.
Okay, and you're still investigating potential connection to the basketball court that they were shooting?
We believe that these incidents are related, as well as some others. There are multiple incidents involving essentially 2 groups of kids that are in gangs.
Just a moment ago, you said that some of these individuals had previous arrests and records. What was their status? Were they on bail, no bail?
We can get back to you, Tony, about active cases being prosecuted in the courts and then released. And when we speak to the multiple incidents, there is no arrest yet on the shooting of the 14-year-old that tragically took Amir's life, but multiple of the other incidents that we are looking at already are closed with arrests.
So the shooting, some of the shooting took place on bus?
It was an individual that got on a bus, chased onto a bus, then chased off the bus, and during the course of that, the shots are fired.
So this recent case, or wave of violence, they're targeting one person is what you believe?
No, this is 2 groups of kids. Essentially, if I was going to pinpoint, they're roughly 16 years of age. Some are a little less, some are up to 18 years of age, but this is 2 small groups of individuals that are both on opposing gangs. That we have some robberies, we have some slashings, and now most recently we have shots fired and shooting incidents. Not as of yet. Still an active investigation.
Was the gun recovered?
Which gun?
Just one you shoot?
Not as of yet. We've recovered bullets, but we have not recovered a firearm as of yet.
TJ, any reason to think the 14-year-old was involved in one of the gangs?
Let me be very clear about this. We have absolutely no indication that the 14-year-old was anything other than an innocent bystander.
Did you have a 15-year-old try and confess to the crime for like street fight or anything like that, and then it was a false confession?
During the course of the investigation, I saw those reports. I think it was about 2 years ago. An individual came into a precinct as part of this overall investigation. He was ultimately charged with a robbery.
Do you suspect any of the 3 kids to be directly involved in Amir's shooting? And have you spoken to the family when the shooting?
Yeah, I'm not going to get into the 14-year-old homicide, but what I will say is, I think I outlined pretty clearly what's going on here between Rodney Harrison's people, again, Dave Barrera, and the deployment, the intelligence that's coming in from John Miller's people, the work of the investigators throughout Southeast Queens. first and foremost, we want to get closure for that family. I'm not going to get into the specifics of who had a role in that as of yet. It's still active.
Was the person being chased on the bus near or on that basketball court? Was it the same person?
Yeah, I'm not going to comment on that.
Has anyone from the department visited, the girl, Ashley, in the hospital?
At the hospital specifically, I can't tell you whether that occurred or not. Certainly, we interviewed her as part of the criminal investigation.
Are you concerned about terrorists using vehicles tonight at the parade or are any other fears?
Actually, Chief Waters will take that. We're using a blocker car configuration that's similar, that's standard for Halloween.
The entire route of the parade is going to be enclosed with blocker cars and sand trucks. So there'll be no, just in the light of the events of 2 years ago, you know, we put together a plan very quickly throughout the afternoon 2 years ago, and we've kept that plan. Look at it each year, enhance it a little bit, it'll be tight. They're going to keep on trying. We've been the subject. We're in the focus. We're in the crosshairs of ISIS and Al Qaeda all the time. We're well prepared to deal with it.
Chief Shea, follow up on the shooting investigation. Did you recover any ballistic evidence, any DNA extracted?
From which shooting, Tony?
The shootings in 113 and 113.
We've recovered multiple pieces of ballistic evidence in the totality of the shooting incidents that I'm talking about. In terms of DNA, I mean, that's what we do at every shooting scene. We're building these cases through again, you have to appreciate some of the work of the detectives here. You have, to say it, put it mildly, we have less than compliant witnesses and victims in many of these cases. So we're building these, you know, how we do business these days, through whether it's electronic evidence, video surveillance, forensic evidence, as you've mentioned, and we could not do this. We are out there walking around as we speak with the Queens DA's office, so I really can't speak enough for the work, you know, the detectives working together with their partners to build these cases. They're not tough cases to make.
I was going to ask Chief Harrison just about, if there are code assignments trying to break through, give invoice location, have you found that people are cooperating because they're fed up?
So Jerry O'Sullivan, who was the commanding officer of the 113 precinct, is working hand in hand with a lot of the community-based organizations over in that South Jamaica area. We're trying to do a couple things regarding getting these youths to start participating in these gangs, in these youth crews. We're also working with the PAL that's right over there within the basic development to see if we could get some type of partnership with them to open up that establishment so the youth over there have a place to attend. So there's a lot of people that are involved with this. The community is frustrated. The parents' strength is helping that community heal a lot quicker. The services, as you don't know, is on Monday, November 4th at the Allen AME Church, which is on Merrick Boulevard at 9 o'clock, I believe. So it's going to be a great turnout, but it's not going to stop after the 4th. We got to continue to work hard to make sure we stomp out some of this crew violence.
Tom.
Yeah, yes, two quick questions. One is that yesterday an SVU detective was providing a photo to a website.
Yep.
Stressing out a statement comment regarding that.
Yeah, he's modified right now, so Dermot, I don't know if you got anything to add?
Nothing.
It's still under investigation.
And also, the incident from Columbus Day where during the Point Star was allowed to go from the 14th floor, has that incident changed how tours of the building are going to happen, and is anyone been disciplined?
Yeah, Chief Harrison will speak about that.
So quite often in the NYPD, we bring people from other law enforcement through and give them a tour of the facilities here. This is one of the greatest police facilities in the country. That day, the executive was bringing individuals that he previously went to the FBI Academy and brought them on a tour of this institution here. And these individuals that he brought are the ones that brought this young lady with. And that's where the whole thing kind of got a little misconstrued. It wasn't that we brought this individual, it's that the other law enforcement officers brought this individual, and that was the misunderstanding. There was no understanding that this person was part of whatever she does, extracurricular activity. That wasn't brought to the attention of the executive. He also was unaware of what she used to do. So, this is what we do. We bring people through tours. There was no knowledge, and then it just got spiraled out of control.
Has this incident changed how you're going to be doing these tours from the beginning, more background checks, or at least like a period?
This is what we do. We take a look at mistakes that we make, and we put things in place to make sure it doesn't happen again.
Anyone disciplined or modified as a result?
Not this time.
Yep.
In the press conference last week discussing the shooting in Harlem, the officials mentioned that there was an uptick in the number of police-involved shootings this year to date compared to last year. I'm wondering if you could discuss briefly the reasons might be behind that.
Yeah, sure. If you just take a look at the last 4 or 5 incidents, it's people using deadly physical force either against us or someone else in most of those incidents. So these are police officers responding to 911 calls, the incident in the 3-2, the incident in the 7-3. They went in there to write a summons to help out a business owner. So this is the incident up in the 4-7. There was somebody firing a firearm on a subway platform. So just think about what these police officers face, the dangers they face each and every day. And I've seen a lot of the footage. It takes a lot of courage to, at 1 o'clock in the morning, to go up onto a subway platform in the Bronx when you know somebody's up there armed with a firearm that has fired shots. So these are not, I say this all the time, these are very difficult jobs, they're very dangerous jobs, and each one of them gets fully investigated by our Force Investigation Division, and we work in conjunction with the, whatever the local DA's office is, or with the AG. So they're all investigated. So what's the question? You're asking me if there's a pattern here, or there's not? There's not. These are tough jobs, and there are some people out there in New York City that are looking to do New Yorkers harm, and they're looking to do members of the New York City Police Department harm too, and we're going to encounter them. Any other questions? Tom?
Just get back to the SVU protector. Do we understand extensive history? Can you comment on that?
No, it's still under investigation.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you very much. Happy Halloween. Stay dry.